welcome back to the channel. I am Eric, your host, and in today's video, I will cover my experience playing Darkest Days. Take note that it is a beta version and a lot of things might change or will be improved in the final release. This game starts definitely with a bang. And I mean literally. Unfortunately, the game's initial setup has nothing special to offer, or out of the ordinary. Just your typical zombie infestation that we have seen times and times again. On top of that, the developers have integrated some sort of character backstory. And since it is weak and irrelevant to the rest of the game, I would have personally skipped it altogether and go straight to the point. Overall, the game is well designed as well in terms of visuals, but nothing groundbreaking, and the overall graphics, controls, UI, and the whole 9 yard remind me a lot of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. And I must say, with a touch of, I know it's going to sound weird, but Zelda Breath of the Wild mechanics, since in the game you need to activate towers to download the area information on your tablet and be able to teleport to that location afterward. It sounds pretty much like a Sheikah Tower and a Sheikah Slate to me. Sound effects, guns, etc. are also okay, although a bit clicky at times. Background music is not overwhelming or constantly hammering, which contributes to the atmosphere. Only when the action starts does the BGM volume go up and go down when it's over. Your goal is to clear each zone from infestation and explore locations to loot stuff, and later on, build/rebuild. As you progress and follow the main story and its missions, during the first hour or so of gameplay, you do have access to vehicles, which are miraculously delivered by air delivery in a container piloted by drones. Ironically, it somehow reminds me of the laughable recruitment mechanism in Metal Gear Solid 5, where the soldiers get extracted by recovery balloons. Just plain odd and weird. I was not able to experience any multiplayer gameplay, maybe because I did not play the game long enough, or because it is still in beta. Despite that, the controls are smooth. My Bluetooth controller was supported right away. However, at times I found myself using the touchscreen controls, especially when I got into the UI. But overall, I would say, great controller support. The world is huge, which is good, and bad. If your car is not in the vicinity, you need to run 1 kilometer, or more, to get to the mission point or to be able to beam down your car. As I said, the world is large but feel empty. As soon you get a bit off-road, everything is unfinished. Not very well polished overall. Feels a bit too much procedurally generated to me. Worth mentioning that, maybe it's because I am running the beta version, not any sort of paid mechanics have been offered to me. Not sure what the developers have in mind for the final release. Weapons, equipment, and cosmetics, microtransactions maybe? I'm not sure. The developers focused too much on the game environment scale rather than polishing details. Yes, you can see very far, and run for hours, but most of the time environment graphics are very blurry, and very repetitive. In addition, most times the vegetation doesn't even fit the terrain because of the myriad of LODs generated, which is typical from Unreal Engine, without mention the stutters while loading or the lag during gunfights. As I usually do, as soon the game starts I crank up all settings to the max, but later on, I had to tune them down back to default because I was experiencing too much lag and clicking. Which didn't change anything, by the way. My testing device is very performant and on paper more than capable of running this game. Of course, optimization comes to mind, but I by experience that it is pretty much a limitation of Unreal Engine on this specific subject that cannot be done without any sacrifice. In a nutshell, the game loop is pretty much as follows. You follow the main road, either on foot or in a vehicle, to get to a tiny bit of civilization, do a few missions, as in kill more zombies, or clear an area, and move on to the next patch of civilization, and that's pretty much it. At least in my first few hours of gameplay, that is what I experienced. In addition, I keep having in mind an infamous vibe to the game, maybe because to shake things up the developers have added a bunch of hooded insurgent marauders to the game and opted for similar game loop mechanics. Get on a mission. Travel to it. If you die or fail, you respawn at the closest safe spot and run back to it again. If you succeed, get back to the last safe spot and go for another. What I did appreciate though is that you can go around and kill zombies in the wild to get extra experience points to boost your character and upgrade your skills. Yes, there is a leveling and skill-based system in the game on top of weapon and equipment updates, which I felt was surprisingly refreshing. Considering the size, the hype, and the amount of manpower put into that project, I feel that the game felt short in terms of replayability factor, and multiplayer/co-op gameplay. I would have loved to see other players moving around, and without mentioning the lack of overall aesthetic, in other words nothing that we haven't seen before, just packaged slightly differently, not a game changer. I had a way better experience playing the beta test of Game of Thrones, King's Road, that I, unfortunately, didn't have the chance to cover on this channel, but will do when the release comes out, which is also powered by Unreal Engine but opted for a less vast, more linear, streamlined open world, at least on mobile, from what I've seen, and well polished with an experience somehow reminiscent of God of War. In conclusion, I think that this game could have provided a much better gaming experience than a large endless run in the wild, PUBG style but zombified. I would give The Darkest Days a rating of 5 out of 10, as I feel the developers missed the mark considering the genre, style, scope, and gameplay, for this superfluously dubbed, new, innovative and bold game. Thank you for watching. That was your boy Eric for NRG Gaming. If you like this video, please give a like. If you want to see more mobile game reviews and other mobile game content, consider subscribing to this channel. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.